Hello. Welcome back. You are tuned in with K Renee Speaks. It has been such a long time. I guess I just had to, find my way back here. And today we are going to talk about something that is very personal to me. Um, it's something that I've been wanting to share for about a year now. I just couldn't find the way or the words, and when I thought I did, things happened. And now I'm ready to speak about it. So we can go ahead and get started. I'm gonna try to be as open as I possibly can through this whole vlog post. Um, I also want to use the proper terms and when I express, so that I'm not just speaking from emotion. And if anyone out there wants to go do the research, they can, and they know exactly what it's called and what they're looking for versus trying to piece it together based off of my sentiments. And then I also was submitted questions from people, so I'm going to answer those. And of course, if you want to ask me questions depending on where you're viewing this video, you can ask me in the comment section. You can send me a message. I'm typically, like I said right now, I'm very open to, talking about it and bringing awareness to this topic. So I don't mind, answering questions. I just ask that, please do not be insensitive and ignorant if you do decide that you would like to reach out to me. So, when I was 19, I had an ectopic pregnancy. And what that type of pregnancy means is that you get pregnant outside of the inner lining of your uterus. And it's most common to happen in the fallopian tube, but it can still happen in the cervix, the ovary, and the abdominal cavity. And right now, ectopic pregnancies are still like the most high when connected to pregnancy related deaths within the first trimester. So that's what happened to me. On this particular day, I went to the doctor and they were trying to hear my baby's heartbeat, and they could hear it but not, it was like muffled, and which it wasn't supposed to be. So they basically called in a doctor, and that couldn't be heard either from the doctor. So they spoke amongst themselves, and my sister, it was me and my twin. We were there, and I remember her trying to keep me calm and, just be present with me. But I was freaking out on the inside. I probably looked like it, just everything, because I didn't understand why the heartbeat could not be heard when it should have been able to be. So they send me to Women's Hospital to get an ultrasound to try to make sure that what I was experiencing wasn't happening. But it was too late. I was in the midst of an ectopic pregnancy. And when they caught it, they felt like it wasn't too late, but in a sense it was too late, because the most complicated thing that can happen and the biggest thing that you fear happening in this type of pregnancy is a rupture. And that's what they were trying to avoid for me, but I was just too far along in the pregnancy for the option that they gave me. So you have three options. You can get injected with the medication which is methotrexate, or you can get a surgical procedure done, which is I have to get mine, which is a laparotomy or a laparoscopy. So I was injected with the methotrexate, which is a anti-cancer drug, which basically it is supposed to kill the growing cell of the placenta, which will basically force you into a miscarriage. I didn't want it. I didn't want it. I didn't want it in me. I didn't believe it. I just didn't want it because to me, I was killing my baby. Although it's like you can't have both. You live or you don't live, and the baby doesn't live either. Like, that's the only options that you have there. So I let them give me the shot, and I just felt like I didn't have any control of the situation. And then it didn't work. So a week later, I came home and I was just in pain. And, it was like at that time, once they gave it to me, I accepted it. And I was like, maybe I was too young. Maybe, it was for the best. Just, you just go through all the list of maybes as to try to convince yourself that you're going to be okay. But to have to convince yourself of something like that and then it doesn't work, you can only imagine how that feels. So I was in this pain and I was just bleeding and it wouldn't stop. And I told my mom and I was like, I need you to take me to the emergency room because something's not right. I get there. They ask me, what's your pain level on a scale of 1 to 10? And I'm like, it's not on there. It's beyond that. Like, and I don't think that people got it. I don't think that they understood how dangerous that was. Because I had been internally bleeding for a while at that point. And I got rushed into emergency surgery, but deep down inside I knew what happened, but somebody saying it out loud, it never happened. Nobody said that. When I laid on that table before I went into surgery, and he told me that I had a cyst on my ovary that had burst, but that's not what happened. And I imagine that maybe he told me that because he didn't want me to go into a panic or, to stress my body even more than what it was already under. But I didn't know what happened to me until after I came to from the medication. And my aunt was on the phone with someone telling my business for whatever reason. But she was on the phone with this person. And I overheard what she said, and that's how I knew what happened. And I just started crying. And my mom was like, get off the phone. She didn't know. And I just couldn't believe that happened to me. And I was only 19. Like, at that time, you think you so grown and, and I may not have had anything else figured out, but I knew that I would be a good mom. And the guy that I had was dating at the time, he just was not very present in the whole experience. So you feel like you're dying alone, literally. And it takes two people, not one. And I don't think that people understand how dangerous childbirth can be. And I don't think that they understand that they shouldn't be as insensitive as they are. So I was rushed into surgery, and I ended up having the laparoscopy done, but that usually will keep the tube in place and remove the ectopic pregnancy, but it was too late. So, and my tube had ruptured. So basically, I now only have one fallopian tube. So I lost my baby, I lost my fallopian tube, but my life, I still have that. I'm still here. It's a hard thing to talk about because it brings about so many different things. And like I said, in an effort to be transparent, I'm gonna be transparent with you guys today. There are some days that you long for this something to fill this void, and there is nothing that will ever fill that void. And then you have your days where you question, your womanhood. You question if it makes you less than because you only have one tube. It makes you question if anybody's ever gonna want to date you or marry you or anything, if they want to conceive kids, because there is a chance that you really, really may not be able to. And that's sad, because you're one of the people that deserves it most. Or you feel like you're one of the people that deserves it the most. And I watch on the news and the media so much. Well, not so much, because I don't like to attach myself in too much, because it can just become overwhelming. But you see people killing their kids, and I just can't imagine. I don't believe in abortion, and that's me, And when this happened to me, even people I was related to, asked me if I had an abortion. And that was like a rumor about me, that I had an abortion. And I just couldn't wrap my mind around it, because it's like I almost died. At 19, I had went out to dinner. I was healing from already having to be injected with something that's for cancer. It's for other things, but that's just how I see it. And I didn't have cancer. And my baby wasn't cancer. And that's why that didn't work. But I feel like it was supposed to happen like that. And it sent me on this darkness. And I'm pretty sure I was an alcoholic before I was even legal. I was the girl that was drunk all the time. I was the girl that was a blacked out drunk. You know, I was that girl, and I never really understood why, but it's like literally like you're drinking to try to fill a void. That there is no amount of liquor, there is no amount of anything that can fill the loss of a child and make you feel better about those fears of what does that mean for you as a woman. And it took me a long time to understand that. And now I try to be more accountable in what I do, in my actions, and in my drinking, and in whatever I'm doing. Because this isn't the only time that my life was spared, I feel like, but I feel like it is the most substantial part of me. It's the biggest part of me. It's the deepest part of me. And it's saddening because I typically go through it alone, because so many people don't know what to say. They don't know if it's valid. They don't know how to approach it. They just don't know. And then if you express how you feel about it, a lot of times I encounter people try to invalidate my sentiment because I didn't bury a child, because I don't literally have a child walking around me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you don't get it. My child was alive and my child was growing. It just could not grow in the space in my body. So what do? But it does not mean that Cadence didn't exist. It does not mean that Cadence isn't the biggest part of me. And I would hope down the line that people are more understanding of that, or that people, you know, it's okay to reach out, to say, hey, to acknowledge, but I don't expect people to, because people don't feel like it's valid. And that's sad, but that's the truth. And the people that do feel like it's valid, they just don't know what to say. And I get it, because I don't always know what to say to me. So, I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'm going to answer the questions. I remember, I don't really watch Love and Hip Hop like that anymore, but I remember I was watching Love and Hip Hop, and Remy Ma, this happened to her. And I watched so many people in the world and everybody feel so sorry for her and pour out support to her. And it's like, you don't even know this lady, but you know me. And it happened to me. But I'm not famous. But that's okay. Because I feel like in me sharing what happened to me, it's gonna help somebody else. We're dying, guys, so I have to find the charger so that we can continue. Hopefully you guys have learned something about me. Sorry that I'm just, talking, but this is a vlog post essentially. And if you have made it this far, I appreciate you. So we could get head into the questions. Do you think if an ultrasound was performed sooner, the result would have been the same? Jasmine Turner, Charlotte, North Carolina. Yes and no. I think that maybe if we had caught it sooner, they could have probably given me the shot sooner, but I just feel like it probably wasn't meant for that to happen. because the baby kept growing anyway. But I do wonder if I had got the shot sooner, would it have worked? Or is it one of those things as to like cancer patients, and they keep going back and they keep going back and they keep going back and to see if it works, and then it doesn't. So I really don't think it would have changed anything, besides maybe I would have not been in as much pain, or maybe it wouldn't have ruptured. But yeah. How do you know when to reveal this event to potential partners? Jasmine Turner. Charlotte. Well, at this point, now that I'm expressing it to the world, unless that person just did not follow me, I would wait until like we were serious, like, we're trying to date each other, conversations about kids are being had, like you trying to take this on the long run with me. Other than that, I don't really think that that's your business. Yeah. If you had to pick something positive out of this traumatic experience, would you be able to? What would it be? Kim, Charlotte. If I had to pick something positive out of this experience, it would be this right here. Being able to be open enough to share my story, to inspire somebody else to write my poetry. This is the positive out of that, and it gives me something. It keeps me grounded. It gives me something to focus on. So I think that's a very positive thing. Why do you think women choose not to discuss when they experience ectopic pregnancies? The team, Charlotte. Probably for a lot of the same reasons I don't. You don't know how people are gonna feel about what you have to say. You don't know how they're gonna gauge you. You don't know what they're gonna say back to you. You may not know how you truly feel in that moment. It may flip-flop. You may not want to discuss it because you feel like nobody else gets it. You might feel like you're the only person in the world that this happened to. You may not have the resources to cope or to properly express yourself. I think those are, many ways that, or many reasons why women may not. Have you ever thought about naming your baby since it happened? Heather Smith, Greensboro. Yes. And as we heard earlier, Cadence. When I was pregnant, I knew I wanted to name my baby Cadence. And at the time, the dad, if it was a boy, he was like, he wanted him to be a junior, and I was like, no, it's not happening. And I just love Cadence because I wrote, he played the drums and such, and it just made sense to me. And it's a unisex name, so now I feel like that why would I name another child Cadence? Like, that name already belongs to someone. So that is what I decided on. When was your due date? Morgan Wright, High Point. It is, or was, September the 21st. And I also celebrate that day as well with a candle and something. In the sense that everything happens for a reason, why do you think God wanted you to endure this? Kim, Charlotte. I really don't know. Possibly, I really just think to add to my journey, to add to my purpose. Because I can't really imagine why this has to happen to anybody. I still, to this day, don't know sometimes why it had to happen to me. But I think everything does happen for a reason, and I think this is something that helps me to be the best version of me, to be the best woman that I can be. I think it's something that helps me in my interaction with other children, because I nanny. So I think it made me more compassionate. I think it made me have more gratitude for life. Yeah. Do you want to try again? Marissa Council, Greensboro. I definitely do. I pray, and I take a lot of precautionary measures in my diet, in my life practices, just everything. Because I do want the opportunity to be a mom, and I look forward to when that day comes. Because the treatment didn't work, do you have a distrust of healthcare professionals? Terry, Charlotte, North Carolina. I definitely have a distrust, because I feel like there's never 100% chance that something's gonna work. And if I felt like if my fallopian tube was gonna rupture, it was gonna rupture, which is what happened. So then I essentially just took this treatment for no reason. And even now, I don't take medications. I steer away from a lot of things because I feel like I've watched a lot of people die in the hands of. Anyway, it's not for me. Or they're not for me. I definitely feel like if it's something that's just dire, you gotta go do what you gotta do. I'm speaking about what I practice, and I just don't trust everything that they say. I don't trust everything that they have to offer, and I feel like you should always do your own research. Are you fearful of having children / becoming pregnant again? Jasmine Turner. I am fearful as fuck. Like, it scares me so bad because what if the same thing happens to me? What if the same thing happens and then that tube is gone? What if that happens and I have to get every single thing taken away from me? Because I also have uterine fibroids, and that's another topic. Maybe I'll cover that one day. But uterine fibroids and one fallopian tube, it's like, yeah, it's a little sketchy. But I definitely have faith, and I believe that it's gonna happen for me one day. And what was the other part? Sorry. And the having children part, I'm not fearful of having children. I am excited. Like I said, if that happens, it happens. Yeah, I think I have pretty much covered every single thing that I wanted to say. Just keep in mind, if you know somebody that had this experience, be a little bit kinder to them, understand where they're coming from, listen to them, reach out to them. Nothing that I've said here in this content today is to get sympathy. I can't stand when people do that whole, like, I'm so, like, no, it's okay. I'm all for genuine expressions of love and things of that nature. But don't feel sorry for me. Just take it as an opportunity to be better to the next person that you may meet that this has happened to. So thank you for tuning in. Always love and light.